Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Jikook Lover for the latest BTS and Jimin updates from around the world. Armies everywhere are talking about one shocking airport moment that has left millions of fans asking the same question. Surrounded by an overwhelming crowd, Jimin was suddenly seen lowering his head. No bright smile. No cheerful wave. Just a few seconds caught on camera, but those few seconds were enough to send social media into a frenzy. What really happened in that moment? Why are fans across the globe so concerned? And is there something hidden in this viral video that most people completely missed? Stay with us, because the deeper you look into this story, the more mysterious it becomes. Sometimes, it only takes a few seconds to make the entire world stop scrolling. Not an official statement. Not a major announcement. Not a surprise comeback. Just a brief moment captured by cameras in one of the busiest places imaginable. And yet, somehow, those few seconds have become one of the most talked about Jimin moments in recent memory. Across social media platforms, fan communities, discussion forums, and news pages, people continue to replay the same footage over and over again. Some are searching for answers. Others are searching for clues. And many are simply trying to understand what they witnessed. Because what happened that day at the airport did not look like an ordinary celebrity arrival. At least, that's what many fans believe. The footage itself appears simple at first glance. A crowded airport. Cameras flashing from every direction. Fans trying desperately to catch a glimpse of one of the world's biggest stars. Security attempting to guide people through the chaos. Nothing unusual for someone as globally recognized as Jimin. But then something happened. Something small. Something subtle. Something that has now sparked endless debate across the internet. For a brief moment, Jimin lowered his head. That was it. No dramatic scene. No obvious incident. No clear explanation. Yet somehow, that single gesture became the center of worldwide discussion. Why? Was he simply tired after a long schedule? Was the crowd becoming too overwhelming? Was there something happening outside the camera's frame? Or are millions of people reading too much into a completely normal moment? Within hours, clips of the moment started spreading rapidly. Different angles emerged. Different interpretations appeared. Every frame was analyzed. Every movement was discussed. Every expression became the subject of speculation. Some fans admitted they felt their hearts sink the moment they saw the footage. Others insisted there was nothing unusual and warned against making assumptions. But regardless of which side people supported, one thing became impossible to deny. Everyone was talking about it. And that is where the mystery truly began. Because the more people watched the video, the less certain they seemed to become. One group believed they noticed signs of exhaustion. Another believed Jimin looked uncomfortable. Others argued that the environment itself was the real issue. And then there were those who became convinced that the camera had only captured a fraction of what was actually happening. As theories multiplied, so did the attention. Suddenly, what should have been an ordinary airport appearance transformed into a global conversation involving millions of fans. The fascinating part is that nobody seems to agree on what they are seeing. The same video. The same moment. The same few seconds. yet completely different conclusions. And perhaps that is exactly why this story refuses to disappear. Because unanswered questions are powerful, especially when they involve someone as beloved as Jimin. For years, fans around the world have admired his warmth, kindness, and ability to connect with people through even the smallest gestures. That is why this moment feels different to so many observers. They are not simply watching a celebrity walk through an airport. They are trying to understand a feeling, a reaction, a moment that appeared ordinary on the surface but somehow felt much bigger underneath. The longer the footage circulated online, the more emotional the reactions became. What began as a simple airport video quickly evolved into something much bigger. It was no longer just about a crowded terminal or a celebrity appearance. It became a story that touched on the relationship between global stars and the people who support them. It became a conversation about pressure, expectations, privacy, and the invisible weight that fame can place on a person. For many fans, watching the clip felt strangely uncomfortable. But because they felt something. An emotion. A concern. A question that lingered long after the video ended. Why did this moment feel different? That question continued to spread across fan communities around the world. In Seoul, in Tokyo, in New York, in London, in Jakarta, in Paris. No matter where BTS fans gathered online, discussions about the airport footage seemed impossible to avoid. Some viewers focused on the crowd itself. The images showed an environment packed with people, cameras, phones, and constant movement. From every angle, it appeared that dozens of individuals were trying to get as close as possible. To some observers, the situation looked exhausting. Imagine stepping into a space where hundreds of eyes immediately lock onto you. Imagine every movement being recorded. Imagine knowing that even the smallest expression could become tomorrow's headline. Yet global stars often experience it every time they leave a building. That realization caused many fans to reflect on something they rarely consider. What does fame actually feel like? People often see the glamorous side. The awards. The concerts. The success. The admiration. The achievements. But hidden behind those incredible moments are realities that cameras do not always capture. Endless travel. The pressure to appear cheerful no matter how exhausted you might feel. The expectation to always be at your best. And perhaps that is why this airport moment resonated with so many people. Because for a brief second, fans felt they were seeing something real. Not a performance. Not a stage. Not a carefully prepared appearance. Just a human being moving through a difficult situation. Of course, nobody outside Jimin himself truly knows what he was thinking in that moment. That fact is important. Speculation can be dangerous. Assumptions can be misleading. A few seconds of footage can never tell an entire story. Yet human nature pushes people to search for meaning. And when the person involved is someone deeply admired by millions, that search becomes even more intense. As the debate continued, another interesting pattern began to emerge. Many fans were not discussing the video itself anymore. Instead, they were sharing their feelings. Messages appeared everywhere expressing concern, support, and appreciation. Some wrote that they hoped Jimin was getting enough rest. Others thanked him for continuing to work so hard despite his demanding schedule. Many simply wanted him to know that his well-being mattered more than any public appearance. In a strange way, the video had become less about what happened and more about what it revealed regarding the bond between an artist and his supporters. The emotional reactions spoke volumes. Thousands of comments carried the same underlying message. "We hope you're okay." That simple sentiment appeared repeatedly in different languages from every corner of the world. And perhaps that was one of the most remarkable aspects of the story. Despite all the speculation, theories, and debates, the dominant emotion was not anger. It was concern. Genuine concern. The kind that emerges when people care deeply about someone they have supported for years. Yet even as supportive messages spread, another mystery quietly began attracting attention. Several viewers claimed there was a specific detail in the footage that most people had overlooked. At first, these comments went largely unnoticed. But as more users pointed out the same thing, curiosity started growing. What detail were they talking about? Why did they believe it changed the entire interpretation of the video? And why were so many people suddenly revisiting the footage frame by frame? The answers were far from clear. Different viewers pointed to different moments. Some focused on the crowd. Others focused on body language. A few believed the environment itself explained everything. The result was a wave of competing theories, each claiming to hold the key to understanding what really happened. Ironically, the more theories appeared, the less certain anyone became. Every explanation seemed incomplete. And that uncertainty only fueled the mystery further. Hours turned into days. Days turned into a continuing discussion. The airport moment refused to disappear. New viewers continued discovering the clip. New reactions continued appearing. New questions continued emerging. Why was this particular video affecting people so strongly? Why had it generated such an emotional response compared to countless other airport appearances? Perhaps the answer lies in the unique position Jimin occupies in the lives of millions of fans. For many people, he is more than a performer. He represents inspiration, comfort, perseverance, growth, confidence, hope. When someone who carries that meaning appears vulnerable, even for a brief moment, people naturally pay attention. They notice. They worry. They ask questions. And sometimes, they see reflections of their own struggles in the person they admire. That emotional connection may explain why this story spread so quickly across the globe. Because at its core, this is not simply a story about an airport. It is not simply a story about a crowd. It is not even simply a story about a viral video. It is a story about perception. A story about concern. A story about the powerful connection between a global superstar and the millions of people who care about him. Yet after all the analysis, all the discussions, all the theories, and all the emotional reactions, one mystery remains completely unsolved. The question that started everything. The question that continues to divide opinions even now. When Jimin lowered his head in the middle of that overwhelming crowd, was it merely an ordinary moment captured at exactly the right angle, or was it a silent message that the world still hasn't fully understood?